In CodeHS Web Design Unit 2, kind of intro to HTML, and we are on lesson 2, which is the structure of an HTML page. Again, I'm skipping over the video, the quiz. We're going to just kind of get started with these looks at the templates, the Hello World page, and then we'll get down to the exercises that I've already done, but I'll try to undo and kind of walk back through that with you. Okay, so what we see here is basically just the template you can use for a generic web page. In reality, you need a lot more than this, but just for right now, this is what we're going to start out learning. And I went over this in the last video, but just a reminder, this first line, that is the declaration that says this is HTML version 5. Okay, then we have our opening HTML tag that says everything from here until I close the HTML tag should be read by the browser as hypertext markup language. Okay. Then we have the head section, which contains information about the page, but not necessarily information that's going to show up on the page. That's where your page title goes within a title tag. And then the body is, again, that's where we're going to put everything. Okay. Now notice we don't have a paragraph tag, a heading tag, so you can just put text within this. It's just going to default to what's called a paragraph format, unless you have styles and rules in place to make it do otherwise, but that is the default of what's going to happen. Okay, so these are the key parts we want to focus on right now. So again, first line is just your declaration. It doesn't have a closing tag. Then you have your opening. We have the beginning of the head section. We have the title, opened and closed. Close the head section. Open the body. Everything that's going to display on the actual web page goes within the body in between the opening and closing, and then we close the HTML. Okay, so another example, it says try adding some additional text here and reload the page. So notice I put this in a paragraph tag. So if I put another sentence, this stays with the current paragraph. And if I refresh, it's just going to add on. All right. But a new, it will skip a line. Okay. So notice the first time I added something, I just added it within the existing paragraph tag. But if I do a separate paragraph tag, all right, it's going to give me a line to indicate, okay, that's the end of one paragraph, the beginning of another. So again, P tags or paragraph tags is what most content eventually is going to be, but we obviously still have our headings that we can look through as well. Okay, and again with the headings, we'll see it later, but you can change different levels of headings. We'll eventually learn how to do a lot more than this, but again, we're just getting familiar with the structure. Most elements in HTML, there are some exceptions, but most elements have an opening and a closing. This concept of having kind of this main layer of HTML, the terminology is everything else is nested under that. So like the head tag is nested under HTML, and then the title tag is nested under the head tag, which is nested under HTML, and so on. Okay, so just a little bit of terminology. Okay, this one says comments are important. This is not a comment. You do see this. So the way you can add comments to your code is with a less than, exclamation, dash, dash, and you close it with a dash, dash, greater than sign. That allows you to describe and put in notes to yourself, or if you're working in a group, what goes where. So perhaps you're styling out a page, you don't want to code it yet, but you're just saying, hey, this is going to go there. Comments can be very helpful. So notice the comments show up in our source code, but it's not actually going to show up on the page. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to start this one over. I'm going to go to history and reset my code. Okay, and I'm going to restore starter code. Okay. Okay, so let me go to the assignment. All right, in this exercise, you'll practice using a title tag. So the given HTML code displays Carol's web page, but there's no title. Set the title of the page. Okay, so just again to demonstrate what happens if you don't have a title. If we were to pop this out in its own window, by default, because this is under CodeHS, it's saying this, but if this was your own web page, it would actually just say like untitled or like document 1 or something like that. So remember, the title is information about the page. I'm going to tab in, which is also the good practice. If you're nesting something under another element, you tab over, just like if you're doing a outline in literature. We kind of want to nest it under so that it goes there. The cool thing about CodeHS, when I type an opening tag, if it has a closing tag, which most elements do, it's going to automatically put the closing tag for me. And does it tell me what it wants me to? All about Carol. Okay, so now I'm going to output. Now when I refresh, I'm not going to see it here, but if I pop it out one more time, all right, now it says all about Carol instead of just that CodeHS pop-up, okay? All right, and that is all there is to that one. So I'm going to submit and continue. All right, and we've got another assignment. So again, I'm going to start over. Okay, so my assignment, it says in this exercise, you'll make your first fully formed HTML document from scratch. Create a web page with the title My First Web Page. The content of the page should have an H1 that states your favorite band. If you open your page in a new window using the CHTML new window button, you should see your page title, okay? So hint, use the previous HTML template. So what that's saying is you can go back. There's also a docs section you can go to that kind of has the starter code. In reality, if you're using an actual editor like VS Code, you can just hit ! enter and it's going to put all of this, what's called the boilerplate code. So this is a very old-fashioned way of doing it, but it is good to teach you how to do it. But in reality, there's a couple of short key cuts that nobody really types this out anymore. So I'm going to copy that, paste it. Okay, then I can go back to my assignment. So this is called My First Web Page. So I've got my declaration. All right, this HTML5. I have my opening HTML tag. All right, it would close. So I'd have to enter down, but then I have the head section, which is information about the page. Then I have the title. And right here is where I'm going to give it the title, My First Web Page. And then for the body, that's where I want to insert a heading. That's going to be a H1, and my favorite band is the Beatles. And I've always enjoyed the Jackson 5. All right, so I like a lot of bands, but just that's the one that always comes to my mind first. All right, and then I'm going to reload. It shows up. If I pop it out, there I see my first web page. Okay, so that is it. And also we click submit and continue. We've got all the green check boxes, so we are good to go. All right, and that finishes lesson 2.